So just let me know if you're having any issues at all. It really shouldn't be. It shouldn't. I mean, not that you shouldn't have issues, but like, we're happy to, stop and make sure everybody's on the same page. So, yeah. All right. So, just while everyone's downloading, getting that installed, because that can take a little bit of time, just want to talk a little bit about the upper level of what we're doing today. So, our RMD files, again, are Markdown files, which can contain code and other text, and they can be converted in a process called knitting. And that knitting process, it can convert them to different types of other documents, like a HTML document, or a PDF document. Now, PDFs are more useful, but I'm going to be doing it for HTML because you would have to download another program and install it for the PDF, and that one is a 3 gigabyte file that you would have to download, which is just ridiculous, but that's the way it is. So we will only be looking at HTML, although the code is 99% the same, and I won't be using any of the code that would create a difference between the two. So that's how that goes. But basically, what we'll look at the end here is we'll have a little bit of white paper on what we were looking at last time. We won't actually, have professional writing and whatnot, but you can kind of put it in as yourself. And then my hope is that in the future, if you have a data set, you'll just load it into R, run a couple graphs on it, and then save those outputs, put them in the RMD file, and then you're good. And so that way you can actually you can see what your stuff looks like, and then show a really surprisingly professional looking report that can be used for all sorts of things. It's really great. So yeah, RMarkdown is it's the way I've done even the projects where I'm not creating a report. I don't. Even the projects where I'm not creating a report, I still do use our Markdown because it's so useful for segmenting different areas and letting myself know what's what, and it's just easy to send around. It can't only be opened in RStudio, I think, unless you have another application like MacDown or something, but I don't think anyone has that here. So, yeah. So I'm going to just share my screen a little bit and, again, go over what we did last time, just a brief high-level overview. And then with that, and then everybody tell me when you do get everything set up. I know, tell me if I'm pronouncing your names wrong, but Ismail, I know he's already got RMarkdown installed. Caribou is working on it, and Rodrigo is working on it, as far as I know. So.
Yeah, quick question. I'm on the GitHub website, so I need to download what you uploaded 19 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's the stuff that you want to upload or that you want to download.
Okay, so I'm clicking on it, but it won't download. Do I have to click on the clone or download? Or?
Oh yeah, sorry. That's what you have to click on. GitHub is a little weird, but it's useful for file.
So but then I'll have to download the other two things too that you uploaded to me. It's okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Those are very small files. You can toss them away, or you can use them. I used both of those for the for our session 1.
Okay, so. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
Yep. And so, yeah, and just again, just let me know if you have any questions. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and there we go. So, almost caught a little bit of the surprise there. I'm just going to. All right. So this should most look pretty familiar. This is what we did in session 2. So like say, we say we want to create a plot. We already have the diamonds data set loaded. And so we could just go ggplot of data equals diamonds and AES of cut plus GM bar. And this over here will give us this nice bar chart. And the data comes from it comes with the package that's used to create these graphs. It's a bunch of data on different kinds of diamonds and whatnot. And so this is qualitative aspects of each diamond that's known, whether it's cut fair, good, very good, premium, or ideal. And you can kind of see the number of each kind of a diamond. So, you got about 22,000 ideal, about 14,000 premium, 12,000 very good, 5,000 good, and about 1,800, I would guess, fair. And so, that's a pretty simple graph. It doesn't, have a lot to it, but it looks pretty nice. Then you can also do things like create a linear model predicting price from the carat of the diamonds, and then add what your expected value for the diamonds would be to that by adding it to fitted right there. And then we can do this pretty scatter plot that we made last time. And then let's actually run it. Takes a little bit of time, and then here we go. We have the carat of the diamond here and the price in dollars. Then each little circle like that is one diamond. So there's about 53,000 diamonds in the data set. And you can see a lot of carats were just ranked on like 1, 1.5, 1.25, 1.5. But then a lot of them were given a lot more continuous. And the red line is the linear regression. So what a regression would find if you're trying to predict price from carat. And so we have all this code here, but we can't really do anything with it, right? So first of all, these aren't in what's called a code chunk. So each bit of code you want to when you're actually going to run the script that turns it into an HTML document, it's not going to actually read the code as code right now, unless it's in the Markdown format. So I'm going to click knit HTML right now, and you're going to see the Praxis logo, right? And that's because I put in this little thing. If you do an exclamation point, open and close bracket, and then just a link to a picture or some sort of image or a path to an image on your computer, then you get the logo, or you get the picture. So I'm a little bit tired. And so then below that, you just have all the code in different parts, and some of it's weird, and this is pretty ugly looking. I think everyone would agree. And the code's not even running. And so what you have to do is you have to turn all this code into actual code chunks. So you do that by doing, and like if you're commenting on something like Reddit, all of the lines, if you want them to actually be separated, you have to press enter twice to actually keep them separate as different paragraphs. So anyway, but you do 3 little tildes, the little button above the tab, open brace R, and that lets you, the R lets them know that this is going to be this is going to be reading it in R. So you could put some other language here and it'll show it like that as well. Now, this is where we get to some of the more interesting stuff. So we can do a lot of things. Do we want this code to be evaluated? And that we do that by saying eval equals either, I say we probably would, so we just say eval equals true. And then it automatically pops up all the different options we can do. There's like a lot of them. The important ones though are eval and echo. So I'm going to do both of these. Eval means that it will run the code inside of it. Echo means that it will show the code. So now Although I'm going to comment this because we don't want to actually install the package again because it's already installed. Now you see, hey, we see it. It's in code form. You can't really tell that it's running the code, but it is. But there's nothing here that has an output. Except we get this little ugly warning that no one wants. And so that gives us to our next item here, just warning false. And so then we knit it again, and that thing disappeared. So that's useful. Now, one thing that can happen after you run some Markdown stuff is you'll see all this thing here saying what it's done and which chunks it's been running and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to go type R code again and have it be run, but not through that route, then you have to press X here to get rid of the Markdown section, which it'll be totally fine to knit later. You don't have to worry. Or you could have just clicked the tab that says console. And so then again, we can go back and this is our R interface. 1 + 1 is 2, all that kind of stuff. And so one thing here, though, this line, it didn't show up at all when we knit the document. And that's because this is just like if you're doing anything on Reddit. This is without the exclamation point. It creates a link, or it creates a hyperlink for whatever text you put in here. But we don't have any text. So I'm going to say cheat sheet here, something like that. And now if we knit it creates this HTML document, and it says, hey, cheat sheet here. And you click on that, and it brings up this. It brings up the PDF document that links to. And if you were to copy and paste that link into Chrome, this is what you'd get. And so this is a beautiful little cheat sheet for how to use our Markdown from the people that made it. And it's extremely useful. Most of what we're going to be doing today is actually based off of this sheet. It provides all the basics, and it's really useful. So I just want to basically go through it and make sure that we're able to use it properly. So, yeah. Any questions so far? I know some of you that weren't there for the last time or didn't see the video might be a little bit confused on how the code is actually running, and we'll go into that more. But any big questions so far on the basics of Markdown? All right. There's a chat. Okay. Awesome. And Rodrigo and Ismail, do both of you have R and RStudio installed? Ismail, Caribou, or how do you pronounce your name again?
It's Karubo. It's okay.
Karubo, sorry.
I'm trying to set it up. It's very interesting. I'm trying to set it up. Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
So I have something that says RGUI. I don't know if I got the right thing.
Do you want to share your screen and we could help you get that ready?
Sure.
Cool. Here. So if you go back to Zoom, there's a little button at the bottom in green that you can click share screen for.
Okay. 1 second. Perfect. Oh, okay. I have a bunch of desktops. Okay, well. Okay, so that's what I have open. Let me see.
Your screen, oh, there it is.
1 second.
Okay. So I thought that this might happen. So this right here is R. This is not RStudio. Okay. And so if you were to type in there like 1 + 1, it would give you 2. But R alone does not give you all the interface and whatnot that you really want. And so you can close this, but it's good that you have downloaded that. Did you also download RStudio? Don't save it.
Yeah, this, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I need to do the full process. So, okay, cool.
Just responding to Rodrigo's comment, right. So you do have to install R before RStudio. You need to have both of them. So it takes a little bit of time for
right. Okay.
people to be installed. No worries, no worries. So yeah, but and I know it sucks that there's so much installation and whatnot for this, but it's really useful if you want to create professional reports, if you want to be able to look at any data, if anybody has like any interest in data analytics or data science potentially in the future, and it's just a really good skill that you can show off, that you can learn quickly and show off quickly to anybody. You know, you ever get like a Excel sheet with a ton of stuff in it, you can throw it into R, create a quick report of it, and, you know, say an hour, and you can just make a really nice looking report. And that's going to impress people. So it's really, really quite useful.
Are there classes on Coursera or other sites you would recommend to learn this?
So I taught it to myself just from having a project, and every time I had a question, I went on Google.
Oh, okay.
But I know that there are, I know that there's a Udemy course out there that's pretty good.
Okay.
But there's quite a bit of free stuff available, because R and RStudio, they're both open source programs, right? And so there's a whole community surrounding R, and you know, all the different kind of packages that are being made, and so it's very easy to learn about online just from kind of just Googling literally, like, how do I do X in R? That's how I taught myself.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right, so then if you click finish and open the program, now I'm not sure where you installed it to.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
I don't really know Windows very well, so I don't know where that would be. But
1 second. I'll move it to the desktop or something.
Let's see.
No, it still wants to run again.
Oh no, that was the setup. That wasn't the application itself. That was the installer.
Okay. That's the same thing, right?
No, it's different. So that's going to set it up. So click cancel.
Oh, cancel?
Oh, so it's in program files.
I'm sorry?
Click cancel and then navigate to your, click on local disk under computer. And then it should be in program files. And then if you see something that says maybe RStudio. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
And then, let's see.
So install maybe?
Let's see. We ran into this problem last time. Hannah, do you remember how
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I
Do
don't
you have
think
like
The versions? Like,
what?
doesn't that have to do with the versions? I mean, the first time at least you mentioned it. I'm using a Mac, but I think the latest version might not work on. Okay.
Try clicking
I
the
downloaded one for Windows 7. Yeah, you can go ahead.
try clicking the folder that says R and see what's in that. Nope. Go back.
Oh, that's server stuff. No.
Go back.
Your do you have like an applications folder?
Wait.
Or?
Go back. Yeah. Click on Go back. And then go
Sorry,
back again.
guys.
No, you're fine. I did this too, and I don't remember what I did to fix it. Try the other programs. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
Nope.
RStudio.
I know we did this.
Do you think it's a version like this?
Uh, mhm. Let's see. Sorry.
Rodrigo got it to work. Yeah, maybe try that.
What's the
install.
problem?
She can't.
Search for.
This?
Yeah, maybe she can't find
No,
our
no,
studio
not
on her
that.
computer. Do you know?
Can you search not just our studio, but that file, or can you search your whole computer just for rstudio.exe? Because that file should be there somewhere.
Yeah, I just press window and type it RStudio.
Or RStudio, all one word. Sorry. Mhm.
I can watch as well, and then I'll probably reach out to Salem and see how to set it up.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Just let us know if you keep having trouble. I tried Googling a couple things, but I'm not exactly sure. So if you want to stop sharing the screen, that'd be fine.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Anyway, so does everybody else, once you have RStudio open, can you go to the files that you downloaded and open up rsession3.rmd? Just that one for now. That'd be fine. Just gonna close. And so then I want to just keep working through this this document again. And so, yeah. So again, now that we're back with the document, we want to give the name a title. So, let's say maybe RMarkdown intro. You can name it whatever you want, maybe diamonds. I am not the author of your document, so make that your name. You can remove date entirely if you don't want it. I tend to do that because I just think that that's kind of ugly. But that's kind of fun. And so then even before showing maybe the Praxis logo or that, you can maybe say we want this to be called like the Praxis. So like say Praxis RMarkdown intro, or anything like that. And so then, but if we want to make it large and title sized, like it's going to show up there, I think that this will give the same sizing, just one hashtag before it, right? See, so then this showed up. And so you could actually just delete the whole title or markdown intro, but you can, and just do it like that, but title works fine just too. So, yeah. And so then I'm also going to just to make it look nice, I'm going to delete author, and then just say, then do let's go 3 hashtags and say by Salem Herrera, and then again knit, and see you did 3 of them and it went smaller. And so you can do the largest it will show up is at just 1 hashtag, and then each one after it makes it a little bit smaller. And so you can play with all sorts of different things, right? So like, let's see. So maybe you want to have the cheat sheet show up real big, right? And you could do even bigger right there. Anything like that. And so this is something that you can play around with. All sorts of little stuff. So now let's look at maybe this next part that actually has some real code in it. So again, we want to put this into an R chunk, and so I'm actually going to divvy this up real quick. Like this, just because for one of these, I don't want it to run the install packages thing for mine. You're going to want to run that once on your own because the package has to install for it to work, but you don't want to be installing it every time. So everybody should right now, unless you've done it already at some other point, type into the our console down here, or just copy and paste install.packages ggplot2 and press enter, and that will install the package that will allow these graphs to show up. So yeah, library actually loads it into the system, and then we want to make our first graph. So let's give it a 2 sections, right? And then go making our first graph. So let's take a look at these. So let's see. Oh, it failed to retrieve the Praxis logo. That's weird. I'm gonna just knit it again. Yeah, guess it was just being weird that time. And so you can see how the code chunks came out again. And then even though both of these plots were in the same code chunk, it runs each one first. And so it saw from the first one that we wanted to create a graph, right? And so then it immediately puts the graph and then continues the next code chunk down here. And so if you remember from last time, these two graphs were different ways of representing the same data cut just as bar charts in different coordinate systems. So a Cartesian coordinate system, which is the good one, and a polar coordinate system, which is the bad one, is basically the proper way to remember that. And so we can see here there's all this kind of this is it's outputting our graph. It looks pretty nice, and so then we can but the graph itself does have a major issue in that there's no title. It does say cut and count, so I guess that's good enough. But say we want to say we want to give it a title, right? So then next what we want to do is just say plus GG title of let's see, cuts of diamonds. And so just copy and paste that down here too. And we run it again. And voila. And then these everything after a plus can actually show up even on the next line. So if we wanted to say, then for the polar coordinate version, we want to just have all this. If we wanted to expand on the title, then we could then we can just go like that and it'll work fine. So if you do this, this is a special character here. It's \n that creates a new line. And so you say cuts of diamonds, but it looks awful. And you knit the HTML document, and there we go. And you can see that it just read it the same way as it was before. So yeah. Let's see. So yeah, does everyone understand how all of this works so far? Just speak out if
yeah.
Cool.
I forgot what's eval again, if you could just remind that.
Oh, no worries, no worries. So, right, there's two settings here. Maybe a good thing to do here would be just to have this everywhere, just since we're getting used to it. So eval tells you that you want to run the stuff or the code in it. Echo means that you want to show it. So let's test this here. Let's say eval equals false, right? But echo equals true. Then what we get is it says, it does our first little bit, making our first graphs, and it shows the code, but it doesn't actually run the code. But maybe what we want to do the other way, where we, code doesn't look very nice on a professional report. So say echo equals false, and then the graphs just show up, and it looks pretty. So, yeah, that's how eval and echo work, and it should show if you like comma. It'll give you all the options that you can do for this. There's a million different ones of them. I only know maybe even maybe half of them do. But you can always look up what any one of them means. It's pretty useful. And so in the spirit of all that, I want to, I think that these code chunks look kind of ugly. So I'm going to just say eval, or sorry, not eval. Or actually, I do want eval false for that one. So echo equals false for anything that's not really, useful. So let's not show that, because that doesn't look that great. So then we have practice our markdown intro. The cheat sheet's right here, and look, we're making our first graphs. And again, if we click cheat sheet, it'll open it up. Opened that up too many times. Let's see. I saw that there was a message. Let me just check what that is. Right. Basically, yeah, eval is just deciding whether or not it is going to run the code. So if it's going to evaluate what's inside the code chunk. So with the eval, it says nothing about whether or not it shows the code. Echo says whether it shows the code. So echo can be, so they're entirely separate things, because maybe you don't want the code to be shown and you don't want it to be run. I don't know why you would have it, but say that's what you want, then nothing would appear if you do false and false. Versus if you want both it to be shown and to run, you do true, true. If you want it to be shown not to run, you do echo true, eval false. If you want it not to be shown but it to run, then you do echo false and eval true. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the point of running it without displaying it? Are there other functions that has?
So I actually do that a lot at work. So I work as a data analyst, right? And so sometimes I have some code that I want to just have shown in a report that's going to be used within my team, right? So like, so I'll just say, hey, this is the code that we're running, but the output of it is just too large. No one wants to see it, or the output is trivial, or maybe I want to say at the end, like I want to grant access to some table that's not going to have an output, but it's still going to be run. So there's all sorts of different reasons for it. And besides, more options is almost always better. So next we have, so what do we want to call this section? Let's say modeling price from carrot, right? And so that's making another little section. And so then we want to, this is R code, so we want to put it in an R chunk. And so what this does, it's creating a object that is it's the linear model. So that's what LM stands for, of predicting price from carat, and the data is the diamonds data set. And so I'm actually just going to include the fitted part right there. So let's just run this. And yeah, and so then this shows here, and so this is actually running, but it's not actually, even though it's running, it's not showing anything because there's nothing to show. This is just assigning variables. So that's all that's doing. 1 second. Cool. All right. So we have this here, and so we have our model, but we want to look at the model, right? So let's go to the console here, and we can say do model diamonds. And, oops, sorry. And that gives us the actual model that it is, and so it's saying the formula is predicting price from carat, and the data is diamonds. So that's what called it. And it creates two coefficients. Our intercept is -2256, and the coefficient of carat is 7756. So let's show that. Say our model is, let's see, so that would be price equals -2256 plus 7756 times carat. And that's exciting, but it's not it's not going to look very pretty, and it looks like kind of just awkward text. No one really loves that. So instead, let's go and do this. I believe that's the proper formatting. So if you do dollar signs around something, it'll put it in an equation format. See, doesn't that look a little bit better? It's like, hey, these are the variables, and and if you wanted to say, what if it was 2256 pi? I think I can just go like that. So then hit HTML. Oh shoot! I think there's a special way to make it bring up pi, but I forget that for now. But you can look up different things to do with these equations. So it's actually pretty useful, and it'll really jump out. So it's nice. So then we had over here, we were trying to make a pretty scatter plot, right? And so again, this is more R code, and let's see. Oh, and just so if you're like, you don't have to type that out every time. On a Mac, it's Option Command I. We'll just create that, but since the stuff is in the middle, so you don't actually have to type that out. But just since the code's already written in plain text, it's just kind of the fastest way to do it this way. But I would never do that if I was actually creating a sheet. But, that's just how it's set up. So we have our code that creates the graph object, but it doesn't display because we haven't asked it to display. And so yeah, then so that's why you have to either not do the assignment, or you can otherwise you could you could not do the assignment, or you can just list the name of the object that you assigned it to. If you're going back and editing, or you might want to add things later to it, it is good to assign the graph a name. So then we do this, and it's going to slowly take more and more time to run our code because because we're making it do so much more. So again, though, we start off, practice our Markdown intro, break the mold. We've got our cheat sheet, our first couple of graphs, and then modeling it. That's exciting. And then, oh, we should make those warnings disappear. But then, hey, look, we've got a graph that actually shows the relationship between the carat and the price of the diamond. Last time we discussed what opacity we wanted for all of these individual observations of the diamonds, because when it's totally opaque, it's just a blob and it's not very useful. And so we played around with it a lot, and we decided that an alpha of 0.15 would be good. So yeah, but again, but going back to the RMarkdown issue here, I don't want those warnings to show up. I don't think anyone really ever loves it when the warnings show up. So if we just go here, warning equals false, and run it again, I'm going to start being a little bit more selective about constantly running it again, because it's just starting to take a little bit of time. But there we go. And so then the stuff didn't show up. And yeah, that's great. And so then for the next thing, for the next little bit here, what we did is we took just three aspects of the data, the cut of the, or sorry, just two aspects of the data, but it's in three just to make it prettier. So we're taking the cut and price again. So we're looking at this relationship, but we're looking at how we can visualize it in other ways. So let's make another subtitle for that, or maybe since it's under the same modeling thing, we want to add a third hashtag so that we know it's a subsection. So we say, I'm just going to delete these. So we say other ways to visualize our model, right? And all right, so what this one is doing, so this is assigning the base plot, just saying that we're going to be using cut and price, and then we have jittering. So let's bring this to 4, 4, 4. So let's just like this. So I'm just going to just do this for the other two. Cool. Awesome. So let's knit this again. And again, we made these graphs last time, but they only showed up over here and couldn't do much with them other than save it as a, just kind of a boring object. So this is where we were last time, and then now we're at now we have jittering. So we've got jittering. So this is this cool way to do a kind of box plot thing, right? Ooh, did something go on there? Then we have the box plot. I'm sure everybody's seen these from their boring statistics classes in high school if you weren't homeschooled or whatever. And then we have the kind of odd violin plot, which does show the kind of distribution on a odd axes, which is, I think it looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like a violin-ish. Maybe this one. On average, if it's a binomial data, it usually shows up something like a violin. So yeah, that was a lot of stuff. Are there any questions here about how our Markdown is interacting with this code? Oh, all right. Well, all right, so then let's continue. So we have all these cool things. I'm just gonna change this to say jitter plot. And here we go. Cool. Yep, all right. So then here we are. We were doing histograms as well. I'm just going to delete this because I think we kind of are starting to get how it interacts. The last couple things here are I'm just going to make another subsection, and another way to do that is just go like this, and a line's going to show up, and then we can say other relationships in the data. And I just love exclamation points. I put them everywhere. And so let's do this. I'm just gonna go like that. And so then this is, and so at the end here, this is this really pretty graph that we put together last time. And so it's running right now, and this will create our little report. 61%. Just takes a little while just because there's so many graphs that are graphing 57,000 different points or 54,000, whatever it may be. But then again, you know, here, look, we have our little report here. We've got our cheat sheet, our first graphs, the modeling the price from the carat. The relationship between the carat and the price of the diamond is shown here. Then we can also visualize it in other different ways, which is a lot of fun. Awesome. Let's see. So we have our violin plot, and then we can look at, you know, say color versus price rather than just what we were doing at before, which was the cut versus the cost. And then this is I just think a really pretty graph here. It's multi-dimensional data. We have on the x-axis we have the carat, and on the y-axis we have the price, just like at the beginning. But then we take each point is given a shape based upon its cut. So we have a circle for fair, a triangle for very good, a square, or sorry, triangle for good, a square for very good, a plus sign for premium, and a plus or square with an X in it for ideal. And one thing to be careful of if you ever want to try to make something like this is that R only allows for 6 different items for shape. It's just kind of a silly decision that they made, but it just doesn't, you know, it's just, I mean, that's just how it is. And so you just choose something like that. But then we have for color, we have all these different colors that they gave us. I don't know what these colors mean. Maybe it's a grade for the diamond. I'm not a diamond expert. But what we can really learn a lot from this graph. And I know we went over this last time, but I just think it's such a pretty graph. The rainbow actually kind of shows up. You can see that there's a relationship here. The ones that are colored D are on average more expensive than the ones that are like colored J. But then also, to me, it looks like if you just like kind of look around right here, you know, if you look at what's at the top, you know, you've got like little squares with X's in them, squares with X's in them. Yeah, there's a couple of triangles which aren't very high up, but then you got pluses and you got some just squares. So this is mostly pretty good stuff, and wouldn't you have it, for the same carat, it looks like the higher quality cuts cost more. And then down here it's mostly circles, and that's because the lower quality cuts just cost less. And so there's a lot that you can find from the data just in this one beautiful graph that doesn't have a title, so it's actually not beautiful yet. Let's give it a title. our gorgeous, can I spell graph? But I'm not going to run that whole thing again. So that's really cool. There's a few other little things that I want to discuss here. I thought that this graph was a little small. It was kind of hard to see everything. So then if I do fig dot width equals 800. I forget if I have to write pixels. Let's find out. Hopefully it's not inches and it just doesn't destroy everything. Also, one thing that's very useful is every time you click knit, it saves your document. It's really useful because you can mess things up. So, yep. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Come on. Oh, we didn't, I forgot, we have to include the fig height too. It's roughly square, so let's call fig height equals 800. So, okay, making an 800 by 800 graph. It'll take a little while to run because that's just, how Markdown does. It has to do it all. It doesn't remember anything for how it converted it to an HTML last time. And implementing that would just be terrible. So, yeah. Come on, almost there. And again, anybody who maybe missed the ggplot session or whatever, if you see this, you look, hey, this looks really cool. I'd like to be able to do a lot with this. Look at the ggplot session. Look at the link I gave for that. Anytime, just text me on Workplace. Say, hey, I'm having trouble figuring this out. What should I look at? I'll answer you. And if you have maybe, if you have something more in depth and you want me to come and help you, I'm always happy to do a half-hour Skype session trying to figure out how to show your data. So, yeah.
Is there a way to learn the commands, or is it like Googling them as well?
Just Google them. I mean, that's really Google is an amazing thing for this stuff. It's not hard to learn.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It's not too difficult once you get in the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then let's see. I'm just making sure that I've shown all the things that I want to show. Okay. So then the last little thing. This is really pretty good for you can see how you would turn this into, with the tools I've shown you, a professional looking plot or a professional looking report. And so that's fun. So now if you guys open up the other file, now this one's going to be a little scarier for the code, and I don't expect anybody to really be able to understand all the code. And I mean that. This is using what's called Shiny. Took me a little while to get used to it, but I want to show you what it looks like as an output, and then you might be able to look in it and see how a little bit of it works. So I'm going to run the document. Sometimes it acts a little weird the first time, and I have to just click inside here. Here we go. All right, so we have an interactive little graph here. We have our X values. So let's say we want, I think price is usually the most interesting thing to show. But like last time we were talking about the alpha level of the points. We wanted them to be, did we want them to be totally opaque? No. We even decided that say a 55% opacity, that was still too opaque. 0, well, it's 0. It doesn't show up. 0.05, you can't really see anything. So I like 0.15 is what I think we decided on. But we have this cool little thing here, and that's just a sliding bar. It's pretty simple. But that's caret. What about table? I'm not sure what table means. All right, so this is kind of cool. We have something of a normal distribution centered around about 60. Let's see. No, that's what's actually so great. Let's see. Do they need our studio? If you export this to an HTML document, it should actually be able to just do this. But most people don't do Shiny in HTML, and I'm trying to remember if it'll work perfectly. You know, gotta test that. Usually what Shiny is used for are little apps that do need a little server, but I forget if it works alone in the HTML document. I'll have to test that. I'll make a comment on the Praxis Workplace group for this. So yeah, but then you know, say let's look at so you know, we can also look at say take the x value of the actual diamond itself. So I guess that's probably like the width or the length or something. And you can see that some were probably improperly labeled 0 because you can't have that. But then you have this awesome, really, really pretty thing. And I think that the data is so centered that we could actually even decrease it to maybe 0.1 alpha. Or will 0.05 be kind to us? It will. Oh, that looks gorgeous. I love that. I really do. And then what about the length and the width? Are they, well, they're highly correlated. Maybe, what about in height? So anyway, that's really a lot of fun. And I just, you know, briefly want to show you how this works. So we're just using the ggplot2 library. And then you take input panel, then you just select, so then there's, the input panel tells you what all the inputs you're going to do. So there's, say, select input, you have xlab, x, and then you just list the choices. So it's just tell it what the label is, tell it what all the choices are, and then tell it what the default choice should be. And then you do comma before doing your next input type. Do the same thing, comma. And so then those were select inputs because we were actually selecting them. And then there's slider input. There's a whole host of different kinds of inputs, right? And so one thing that I think would have been kind of fun here that I didn't allow for us to do was what about what color do we want, right? And so let's do that. Let's do another select input of let's call it color. Oh, I gotta put that in quotes. And so what are we going to have this the label? So the first thing is what the code is going to reference it as. The second thing is what it's actually going to show up in the Shiny app. So if we do label equals, I would also just do color. You have to put it in between quotes because it's a string. So choices. All right, somebody yell out their favorite color.
Blue.
Blue. There are over 700 different colors in their system.
Oh, can you do turquoise?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
You do
That's not
yellow?
actually my favorite color. I just like it.
Yeah, is that how you spell turquoise?
You.
There's a U.
There we go.
Yeah.
So then we want yellow. How about olive? That's odd, but we can do it.
Oh,
Black, of course, because you have to have it. Let's see.
Magenta.
Magenta.
It's gonna go great with the olive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. And so, that's a good set, and you can literally make your choice list as long as you want. And so then at the end of that, you just say, so what should the default one be? I'm going to go with let's go with magenta. That's a good one. I'm scared of turquoise because I don't know how to spell. And notice we did have to put another comma right here before adding our next one. And so then so that did the whole input panel. And so now we're doing the render plot. And so you just do literally all you do is render plot, open parentheses, open brackets, and then code that will make it. And this is called input. And it just has a list of everything in there. So you can see here it's ggplot of using the dataset diamonds. Use the aesthetics x equals diamonds, and then this looks ugly. No way to make it look pretty, I'm sorry. So inside the brackets means it's going to try to select a column from the data. And then if you paste, because it's not selecting it's telling you caret, but it's not, it's only giving it to you as a string. So if you do paste of that string, then it will give you the actual column in it. It's really ugly, and I couldn't get used to this for a while, and I just copied and pasted my old code. But let's let's add our next thing here. Say color, or I think it's fill. Yeah. No, call. I'm a bit tired. So let's say call equals, and then copy and paste this. Diamonds paste input of color. And I think that that's good. It's probably going to run an error because I never do things right. Oh, shoot, what I do. Undefined column selected. Really? Oh, I'm silly. I forgot that the color wasn't a part of the diamonds data set. So let's do that. I'm just going to do this because I think color is already an automatic thing. So let's call it color choice. There we go. Now let's run it. Color. Really? Select input, color choice. Oh, come on. This was going to be so cool. Select. Yeah, that's good. Call. Oh, right. That's what it is. I'm really tired. You have to say it's a part of the input. So you do input $, color choice. There we go. And again, I don't know why it's being weird for me right now. But hey, we've got, okay, that's not magenta, but you tried. What? That's weird. What if sorry, maybe don't put it in, what if I do it there? You gotta play with it a little bit until it starts working. There we go. Hey, magenta, turquoise, blue, yellow. Oh, yellow's awful. Olive. Oh, I guess there's no olive in their data set. That's too bad. And black. So, yeah. And for those of you who have worked with other HTML stuff, you can just put hexadecimals in here to get a color. Just, they're RGB and hexadecimal. So you don't have to look up the exact name of whatever it is. So, yeah. I'm going to stop sharing right now. With that, I think that shiny stuff at the end is really, really fun. And it's really not that hard to dig into. And again, you have the files with you. You can look at them, play with them, edit them, and see what you can do. Maybe try to change it so that rather than the color being just one thing, make it color the points by the say the cut of it. Is it very good? Is it ideal or premium or whatever that meant? So yeah. Any questions? Anything that you want to kind of go over, or comments or whatever?
It's fine. It's fine. That's very, very cool to to see the data and all the stuff that you can make.
It's so cool,
awesome.
and it's like really it's really the learning curve for R. It takes like a good few days of just playing with R before you really get it, and then the learning curve you just immediately jump to near the top, and then like everything else for learning to do advanced R is like it only adds like very small marginal benefit to how cool all your stuff can actually look. So you can really jump it into R by just playing with it for a few days. I mean, I'd never written a line of code before, and I had a big project in high school that I wanted to do, and so I just kind of taught myself R. It's something that you can get into really fast. And check out my other sessions that I did and all that kind of stuff, because it really really just text me on Workplace or Facebook or whatever. I'll always answer. So yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Would you say it's possible in a good 3 hours to sort of master all these basics? Because I think I did session 1, I missed part of session 2, so I'm a little scattered, but I recognize some parts.
Right. I think 3 hours. Yeah, you could probably knock out ggplot. There's an article that I posted for session 2. Did you see that article?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Reading through that article is really useful for getting an idea of how it works theoretically. The syntax. Oh, I should. So in the R console, where you actually type the code, if you just do question mark and then the name of any function, it will put up the documentation for that function. And it'll tell you, this is what each of the inputs means. These are some examples of how to use that function. And so just between that and literally Googling, how do I make a bar chart in ggplot, just between the two of those, you can pretty much teach yourself everything really important about ggplot in like 3 hours, 4 hours. And and then again, like everything else, ggplot runs really deep. A lot of major websites actually do all their graphics through ggplot by just designing their own theme. So it's not obviously ggplot, but I believe, do you know Nate Silver's website, 538? For a long time, they were just doing ggplot graphs, and I know the New York Times used to run them. Fangraphs.com, one of the top baseball analytics sites, also used to run ggplot for their main things. It's really there's so much you can do with it. You can you can design your own themes and save it as an object, so that way every time that you make a graph, you can just say plus whatever the name of your theme is, and it'll just be designed the way you like it. It's really got an immense amount of stuff for it. So like 3 hours, yeah, you can get the intro down, but it's definitely worth it to keep diving in.
Okay, definitely. Really cool stuff. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, it's almost 10 here, and the last 38 hours, I spent 23 of them in the office, so I'm only going to be able to stay awake another 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
We had a bad bug, and yesterday was a long day. So,
Wow.
Are there any other questions or anything before I get moving?
I'm good.
All right, cool.
I'll follow up on Workplace because I'm way behind. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much. It's okay. I got it to open, which is awesome.
That's good. Yeah, and then of course, Hannah's going to post the video within the next few days.
Yes.
Really, just text me on Workplace if you have any questions. That link, the github.com/esmerero/public, I think is what it was. I'm going to take what we put as our finalized version of our session 3, and I'm going to put it up there. So all the code that I wrote is going to be up there, so you won't have to do all the ugly little stuff that I was doing the whole time. So I'm going to put that there up immediately, and you can re-download it and then walk through it yourself again and remember it.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. This was a lot of fun. I'll see you all later.
Yeah, thanks, Salem.
Yeah. Awesome.
Good night.
Bye-bye.